As you might imagine, plenty of fans want to talk about this as well. Let's head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hey, Dave, love the show. Just want to hear your thoughts on this. So who do we blame for the Myles Garrett wanting out? I say we blame Jimmy Haslam because he didn't do nothing to help his loyal number one pick. You went out and you gave Deshaun Watson guaranteed $231 million. When it's all said and done, we'll be lucky in this 5-year deal if Watson has or even gets close to playing one full season, like total. Instead of all these picks you could have been adding to it and helping Myles want to be here, you didn't do nothing. So I blame that on Jimmy Haslam. And I don't blame Myles. You're not just going to sit around and waste his talent, man, and that's what I feel like is about to happen. So I hope Myles goes where he wants and gets what he wants, but I blame Jimmy Haslam. Go Browns.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. Tom, I understand the thought. I don't necessarily agree with it. Without question, the Deshaun Watson contract is kind of why the franchise is where it's at. But they thought they were solving the franchise quarterback situation. So, and I can't hide from it. I thought it was a good move when they did it. If you go back and look at this show, I thought it was a great move. So, but upon further review, that's why we're here. That contract is kind of why we're here.
Yeah, a little bit. I think there's a lot of blame to be shared here, Dave, to be honest. I think Jimmy Haslam has to take some of that. Deshaun Watson in the contract, although, how could you blame him for taking money that people are going to throw at you? I think Myles has to take a little bit of the blame here as well. I mean, not to say that he hasn't been a great player the last 4 or 5 years, but, he in some regards, maybe he hasn't been the leader that this team had hoped he would be. He does a great job on the field. There's no question about that. He's made a huge impact in the Northeast Ohio community as well, and that's all well and good. But listen, at the end of the day, he signed a contract. He's under that contract for the next 2 years. It's easy to look around the league and say, woe is me, I haven't played for a championship. I'd like to remind Myles that they've been in the playoffs 2 times in the last 5 years. And listen, I'm not going to point the finger at this person or that person. The Browns have had some rotten luck here as well, right? I mean, at the moment where they thought that signing the franchise quarterback, to your point, Dave, was going to be the final piece that was going to get them over the top. Well, Deshaun Watson, aside from all the off-the-field stuff, and that's a whole separate subject, aside from that, he suffers season-ending injuries the last 2 years. Nick Chubb suffers season-ending injuries the last 2 years. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who I could argue was playing better than anybody on that Browns defense at the time that he suffered a potentially career-threatening injury this past season. So, while, listen, the losses have mounted, there have been a lot of other things that have led us to this point. Now, to your point, though, Dave, about the contract, the Watson contract, it's beyond that. It's about not being able to find this franchise quarterback for now 25 years and counting. That's the biggest reason that we're in this predicament that we're in. The Haslams have made their mistakes. My God, we could spend 4 hours talking about the things that they've done wrong during their ownership tenure. But there's plenty to my point is that there's plenty of blame to be shared here. And I think, some of it has to fall on Myles Garrett as well.
Yeah, and to your point, Jimmy Haslam has made a ton of mistakes. But I think he's done so trying to bring it isn't been by cheaping it out. It's the opposite. He's thrown money to trying to get to his Super Bowl.